Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marcello and I question things. Today I question a puzzle, or the solution to a puzzle that I found here on YouTube. It's linked in the description, and apparently this puzzle was asked during Google interview questions, so that's why it's getting quite the attention. The setup is pretty easy. We've got a fox down here. We've got 5 different foxholes, numbered 1 to 5 for simplicity's sake, and we've got ourselves and the aim to catch the fox. Now, the rules are simple. In the first night, the fox hides randomly in one of those 5 different foxholes, and during the day, we can check exactly one of those foxholes. During the next night, the fox can move precisely one space to the left or the right, which means that from hole number 2, he can go to 1 or 3, but from hole number 5 and hole number 1, he can go only to either 4 or 2, because there's no connection between them. It's not a circle, it's a line. Now, what is a strategy that helps you find the fox as quickly and efficiently as possible? I hope I've described the setup sufficiently precise so that you can give it a go if you want to. Quickly pause the video. I'll give you a couple of seconds time for that, and after that I'll explain the solution. Alright, so the key to the puzzle is to realize that by moving one space per night, the fox always alternates between even and odd numbers. So if he starts in hole number 2, he will be in hole number 1 or 3 the next night. If he starts in hole number 4, he'll be in hole number 3 or 5 the next night. And it's always alternating. And this gives us a strategy to find him. Now, the official solution also from the original video was that we assume in the beginning that the fox is in an even numbered hole. So hole number 2 or 4, and we just select hole number 2. We check hole number 2 during the first day, and if we are lucky, 20% of the cases, we will have found it, task completed, let's go, Google hires us. If not, under the assumption that we originally made, that the fox started in hole number 2, we now know that the fox is in hole number 4, so that he can go to hole number 3 or 5 during the next night, so that we check hole number 3, because this is a dead end that the fox cannot escape. So during day number 2, we check hole number 3, and if we are lucky, great, we will have found it, done, and if not, we now know for sure, under the premise that the fox started in hole number 2 or 4, that he now is in hole number 5, which leaves him only one option, which is to go back to hole number 4, where we will look for during day number 3 and find the fox. So that's it. But if the fox is not in hole number 4, we now know that our initial assumption that he started in an even numbered hole was wrong. So we now know that the fox started in an odd numbered hole, which means that during the day where we check hole number 4, he is in an odd numbered hole again. So we now know during the next day, day number 4, he needs to be in an even numbered hole. And we can just repeat the first 3 steps. So we go again, 2, 3, 4, which will guarantee that we will have found the fox latest on day number 6. That's it. A very easy, very elegant solution. It's, I think, in quotation marks, the official one. And it's nice. It's easy to understand, I believe. And cool. It's also the solution for min-max. So minimizing the maximum number of days you need to find it. But I had a weird feeling, because somehow to me it felt awkward to test whether the fox is in hole number 2 or 4 first, if you only have a 40% chance that he is actually in an even numbered hole. Like in 3 out of 5 cases, he'll be in hole number 1, 3, and 5, so testing for the less likely case first somehow didn't feel right. So I thought, okay, how would I go about if I check the odd numbers first? So I'll check on the first day, hole number 1. Now, assuming the fox was in hole number 3 or 5, and I haven't found him in hole number 1, there's now a very high likelihood he's in hole number 4, so that's the hole I'm checking next. If he is not in hole number 4, I now know that he in this very moment is in hole number 2, so I'm checking hole number 3, and if the fox is not there, I know now for sure that he is in hole number 2, under the premise that he started in an odd numbered hole. And if he is not here on day 4 in hole number 2, I will now switch back to the old algorithm and go 2, 3, 4. It's the same thing. So the algorithm is 1, 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4. You see, okay, but that's a day longer, so it's worse. Yes and no. So absolutely, the min-max solution is worse, because in the worst case, we need 1 day longer. But if you now look at the probabilities, it's a different picture. So let's take the algorithm 1 back. So we know that it takes us 3 days to have a 40% probability of having caught the fox. Because after 3 days, we are sure, absolutely sure, that we now have the fox in 40% of the cases. So that's 100% times 40%, which is 40%. Great. But if we look at algorithm number 2 now, so on day 1, it's 20% because it's a fifth. But on day 2 already, we have another 20% extra, because if the fox started in hole number 5, we will have found him here in hole number 4. And we also get 50% of the probability that he started in hole number 3, because after starting 3, you can go either left or right. So after 2 days, we are already at 50%, whereas in algorithm 1, it takes us 3 days to be at 40%. So it looks like we're quicker in the start, but somehow still take longer in the worst case. I've done some calculations and also some simulations, as you'll see later. And in line number 5, you see the added up probabilities of finding the fox with algorithm number 1. So we start with 20%. On day 2, it's 30%. And on day 3, as already mentioned, it's 40%. Now it kicks in 70, 85, and 100%. And obviously on day 7, it's still 100%. So it takes us 6 days to reach the 100% mark. And we have the partial probabilities here. So it's the difference between kind of, for example, 15% is 100 minus 85. And if we form the sum product, we have the average duration, which is 3.55 days. Now for algorithm number 2, we start with 20%, now the 50% already. It now slows down 55, 60, and then it goes back up. But if you still take the average duration, you actually see a wait. I'm 0.1 days quicker on average. Does not sound a lot, but it's 3%. And now the question, like from Google's perspective, might be, what are we optimizing for? Do we want to guarantee a maximum number of 6 days or 6 steps? Because at the end, it's some algorithm, 6 steps to do something. Or do we want to be better on average? And this is a 3% difference, and 3% less electricity cost, depending on how big this process is, can be enormous. So that's why I said it's an interesting problem, because you can optimize for 2 different solutions. And I've plotted it. So you see algorithm 2, the red one, has a much better start, but then slows off massively and gets overtaken by day 4. But overall, the integral earlier is so much better that on average, you're better off using this algorithm. And I've also made some simulations in Python. This is the code. It's not pretty. It's really not pretty. So don't judge me. I'm not a coder. I just know some basic stuff. And I'm quickly letting these run 1,000,000 times each. Oh, you see the above results already, but no, this is live. And you see 3.55 and 3.45 plus some obvious, like, it's still with 1,000,000 times. There's some discrepancy. But you see that the actual test shows the very same results. And yeah, this kind of proves that also the mathematics are right. So this is very interesting, and I hope that you enjoyed this this alternative solution. Maybe there's even quicker algorithms. I'm not saying I found the most efficient way. Maybe there's some hack that you can do to find something even quicker. But yeah, so whenever you see questions, maybe ask yourself, what is it that I should optimize for? And the obvious solution, the easy solution, is not necessarily the right one. Thanks for joining me in this video. If you have any more things that you would like me to question, comment them if you want to. And yeah, I think I might do some more videos of this type. So if you want to see those, like and subscribe, you know the drill. Hey, there's also a bell icon or something. But with that, I'm out. See you. Bye. Bye.